This is AirNetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. Hey, welcome to a Saturday. More importantly, welcome to the Huntingdon Veterans Day Parade in downtown Huntingdon, where Jeff Speck is located. He's going to bring us some of the action, of course, talk to some of the participants, hopefully talk to some of the folks in the crowd. If you get a chance, you've got time now, about a minute, to get downtown Huntingdon for the beginning of the Huntingdon Veterans Day Parade. Hey, Jeff, how's it looking down there on Washington Street? Anybody showing up this morning?
Yeah. Well, we have I would say our normal Veterans Day crowd. Looks like the heaviest down probably between the 6th and 8th Street areas where people are lined up, and then also over on the brick wall of the parking lot at the church across the street from where I'm located. I want to thank the Huntingdon County Drop-In Center for some facility use here this morning to help us with our broadcast. And before we get too far along, happy birthday, Greg Banks.
Wow. Is he having another birthday? Oh, my God.
Another birthday. They come fast and furious, don't they?
Yeah, don't they? The older
there
we
goes,
get.
There was a fire siren, which just sounded here just moments ago in Huntingdon, and units are responding, so you might hear that in the background as they got pulled out of the parade route and are on their way to a call of some sort.
Wow.
So while they pass, I may give up talking.
All right. Well, listen, at this point, all I want to say is thank you for the birthday greetings. Yes, we're getting to the magical number. I don't know what that number is, but I'm just so blessed to be here. More importantly, blessed to be at home and having Jeff Speck, of course, give us some live action from downtown Huntingdon today, where it's a Huntingdon Veterans Day Parade. I know it's not Veterans Day, but these are how we usually operate in Huntingdon. We try to get a jump on things a little bit early in case of maybe weather or whatever the case might be. And maybe Jeff has a better understanding of why, with Veterans Day next week, why we've gotten a jump on it this week. Jeff, any idea?
Yeah, well, usually the tradition is here in Huntingdon that the the Huntingdon County Veterans Day Parade is usually held the Saturday before Veterans Day. So this year we actually have the occasion where Veterans Day, November 11th, actually falls on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. So as not to interrupt what's going on in other communities, why they kept the parade a week the Saturday before Veterans Day, which is a week from today, the actual November 11th itself. So that is why they're doing that, because then in other communities that different organizations, your VFWs and legions across the county and other communities can then proceed with their traditional Veterans Day programs and services, so the parade will not interrupt with those activities and commemorations next Saturday, which is November 11th. And of course, my memories of November 11th, my grandfather Phil Short was in World War I, was in the European theater, the armed forces there, and he had been a past commander, I believe, of the American Legion. And my grandmother, it was one of the things we always did on Veterans Day on November 11th at 11 o'clock. We were always at his gravesite in Riverview Cemetery in Huntingdon. And, of course, remembering back to those days at 11 o'clock, the fire sirens, the church bells, they would all ring. And that was how commemorations were whenever I was growing and you were growing up in Huntingdon. And
exactly.
This is one of those communities where people still take pride and they show the love for our veterans. And you know, we have the traditional Memorial Day Parade, the Veterans Day Parade, and it's small town, but they turn out. And one of the cool things here again this year, and the signs are even a little bigger this year. Thank you signs, which they hand out along the entire parade route, courtesy of the 15th Street United Methodist Church in Huntingdon. Mm-hmm. They have these signs printed up, and on the back they have all of the members from their organization who are part of the armed forces and have served the country. They have their signatures on the back. So we commemorate Veterans Day, and I can guarantee, and not making too much of a commentary here, but there'll be no knee taken today. The flags are flying. The committee that puts the flags up in downtown Huntingdon. The flags, you can see them from 4th Street on up to 8th Street and down on Penn Street. So it's all American. It's Huntingdon. It's what we do. Right. It's what we've always done, and I would imagine we'll continue to always do.
And you know, it's always nice to hold on to those small town, or in our case, hometown traditions, because, you know, I don't care if you go away 50 years and come back, we hold on to those things that make us, of course, the very fabric of America. And Huntingdon certainly has centered its focus and attention on that today with the Huntingdon Veterans Day Parade. Jeff Speck is downtown live on the Air Network at 94.1 FM. And Jeff, do you see any movement coming down Washington Street now? Because, again, today is our day to say thank you.
Hey, tell you what, right now, I think you're talking to me, but we're...
Oh, yeah, we heard that.
It's kind of like the movie Mother Jugs and Speed with the ambulances blitzing the nuns. We're kind of getting blitzed by fire apparatus, which is responding to a call at this hour. So I know you were trying to talk to me, but I wasn't hearing much. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. Understandable. I just said basically it's nice to hold on to a small town tradition like we're doing today.
Oh, without that, come over here. Don't stand and wait. Come over here with your sign. Come over and wish our producer a happy birthday. But we have this is just great. The red, white, and blue signs that have the big thank you on them. The kids all have theirs. The adults all have theirs, and so we'll be able to say thank you to all of those folks whenever they come down through in the procession. Step over here. Don't be shy. It doesn't bite. There's an old man on the other end of this broadcast.
Mr. Happy Birthday, Greg Banks.
Oh,
Happy birthday to you. That's enough of that.
Thank you. Yeah, hey, great singing from my friend Steve Jackson.
You probably recognize that voice.
Yeah, Steve Jackson, my good friend.
Panther fans here together.
Yeah, and in that wild, today the Panthers have the day off, and here we are working, or having, of course, involved in, the Veterans Day Parade. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, well, Greg is saying thank you and what the Moose does here in the involvement in the community and being down here for Veterans Day, and got the boss with you. She never gets near these microphones much, does she?
Hi, Jody.
She's a ham. Hey, thank you guys from the Air Network and Greg and you for doing what you do for the community. I think it's fantastic, and
we enjoy doing it and appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's we're just talking hometown and Veterans Day. It's tradition here in Huntingdon and something that we do. And as I said, there'll be no knee takers today.
No knee takers today. This is something that I've been coming to, and you also for years since they've had them, and I don't like to miss them.
I think I can remember probably in the last 20 years, I think I missed two. One, I had work obligations in Altoona, and the other one, J.C. Blair was doing something to a hernia.
Well, you got to get that taken care of.
So that's how I.
They could have waited until they could have waited till Halloween for that. So.
Yeah. So we have people where that's not a bad crowd now, and it always upsets me. And I get on my soapbox every year, Greg, and I'm going to take a chance here. We put I don't know maybe 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people come downtown for a Halloween parade, which is great, and it's a fun time.
Right.
But to me, it just seems we have our priorities screwed up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That real heroes, people that are not wearing rubber faces and throwing out candy. Well, actually, they do throw out candy today, some of the units. But, man, just one time in my life, I would like to see people just take a half hour, 45 minutes, folks, come down and honor people that, hey, without them, we wouldn't be standing here doing this kind of stuff.
That's so true, so true. And of course, we don't mind you making that statement because that's very important. As I mentioned about the traditions in Huntingdon, it's an important tradition. And thank you, Jeff, for being down there and a part of the Huntingdon Veterans Day Parade. I was down there last year and actually got a chance to see Steve Jackson. And further down the road, I guess Joe Thompson's down there somewhere, isn't he?
They they do their reviewing stand down on the I call it the front porch of the American Legion. That's where Joe Thompson will be doing all the announcing down there as the units pass and the dignitaries disembark from their vehicles and go up on the reviewing area. And Joe, I mean, you talk about tradition. Joe's been doing that for years and years, and I don't think he would miss that for all the world. And usually is down there, has the PA set up, so down in the area of the post office and the American Legion, and there's a very good crowd always lines up across from there as well. Mm-hmm. So they will be down there, and the parade gets underway at 11 o'clock. Now, I'm not sure what with the fire call, that the emergency call that went out here, that may have done some realigning and some because I think that call was struck maybe about 2 or 3 minutes before 11 o'clock. So that was as those people had to get out of line and get doing their job. And it's another good time to remind those people, the people that we salute here today are veterans. But boy, we've got so many people who serve our communities across this area and across this country. But there are the volunteers doing nothing but getting ready to go line up in a parade, and a different call comes in for help, and they're off. So I don't imagine that'll be too much of a detriment to getting the parade downtown. But so far, looking down at the turn above 8th Street, why they are not to that point yet. So they may have had to do some switching and moving around up there to get things going to get downtown.
There may be a realignment going on. Yeah.
If you're in the area, come on down along Washington Street. There's plenty of spaces, and it's not going to hurt you one bit to stand here and show some appreciation to our veterans.
It's a great way to say thank you and welcome home. In many instances, Jeff, I don't know if you were around. Yeah, you were young during the Vietnam conflict, and we're not getting into politicizing, but we really never gave a chance. We never really got a chance to say welcome home to those veterans especially. You know what I mean? There was just weird world going on at that time.
Yeah, when I was growing up, now I'd have been in my elementary school days at that time, but it was like the Vietnam era, the Vietnam War. That was just something as a young man. I still remember being a kid that every night, Uncle Walter would come on TV, and every night you got a death toll, you got a number. Here's how many died today, and then they'd break it down into the different countries: Vietnam, Cambodia, and here we are coming up on Veterans Day, and the current administration. Whatever you think, one way or the other, I just find it strange that our president will be visiting Vietnam on his Asian tour, which, boy, how times have changed. But that was just one of those things when I was growing up. Right. You just thought you at some point you'd be going to Vietnam. That's just what I remember that being in my thoughts, that someday you'd be out of school and you'd go to Vietnam. Of course, you had all the Canadian thoughts in that time. Certainly a time of upheaval. But our veterans who served in that conflict, war, whatever you would like to call it, they deserved much better than they received on the way home. And PBS, if you didn't get a chance to see their recent series on the Vietnam War, what a fine piece of work that was.
Ken Burns always does a great piece of work, and of course, as Jeff mentioned, if you've not seen it, just go online to pbs.org and check that out. And Jeff, I know you were relatively young, but I would have been at that time probably about maybe a sophomore in high school, and we were all basically draft bait. And fortunately for us, they de-escalated the war, if you remember, around 72, 74. So we really never had, but I had a lot of friends who went, and unfortunately in Huntingdon County, they never got home. So, I think about that all the time. And so that's why we honor our people today. No matter what conflict, even if they're presently in the military, today is our day to salute them.
Well, just a little story personally here in my life this morning about 5:30, 5:45, a young lady that I don't know if I've adopted her, she's adopted me. She's in the Air Force Reserve, and she was calling to say she's on her way to Fort Indian Town Gap. Will be down for her training and leaving her new little one behind. And and then we're just talking. I'm saying, I'm talking about, boy, here's mom with a little one 4 months old, and she's going out to fulfill that obligation in the Air Force Reserve. And then she hits me up with, do you mind? I have my daughter down as a beneficiary, but can I put you down as a beneficiary just in case something happens? And she gave me some instruction over the phone. Wow. Here's how she wants money split up. That stuff hits home.
Yeah, boy. That is so, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. But sometimes, and oftentimes, we forget that, man, we live in a free land here, and we send a lot of our children, a matter of fact, off to war, or even maybe for training like this, and she leaves her family behind. So, man, thank you for the sacrifices.
And as you look at, at this point, I think it's maybe 1.2 or 1.4% of people actually serve in the military at this point. So, that means there's an awful lot of us walking around who really don't appreciate those sacrifices. And even though her sacrifice is going to be at Fort Indian Town Gap for a week, that's still a sacrifice with a new one at home. And for a young lady of 20 years old to be doing that, to me, that's just Now, she's my hero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have a lot of heroes in Huntingdon County, and today we salute them and we thank them for their service. It's the Huntingdon Veterans Day Parade. Jeff Speck live downtown on Washington Street as they make their way downtown to the reviewing stand, by the way, at the American Legion there across from the post office. Still time to get in town. I guess imagine if you get into town, you can probably get up on Mifflin Street and park and just get down there and give a salute, right, Jeff?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, you can still get across. In fact, the unit is just coming around the corner now up above 8th Street, about 8th and Washington Street at this point. And here's a guy. Let me see that shirt so I can read it off. The only thing I love more than being a veteran is being a grandpa. That's a pretty good one. Yeah. John Bloom, how you doing this morning?
Oh, we're doing just fine. Yourself?
Not bad, and thank you for your service, Mr. U.S. Army veteran.
You're welcome.
And what's this day mean to someone who served? Myself, I've been a full-fledged civilian all my life, but have great respect for those who have served and have had family in the military. What's this day mean to someone who's served their country?
Well, I believe it means a lot. It's from all the people that have served from way back to now, and especially for the Vietnam vets, getting a little recognition where we never had before.
We had just been talking about that came home to maybe, there was turmoil in this country about it, but the people in the service, they were just following orders and doing their job and just obeying orders.
People didn't understand that. They just, what they learned and what they watched on TV, which was not always favorable. And now we're home, and I'm seeing attitudes have been changing. And I think a lot of, from us guys, our generation now, is making sure the guys coming home now don't go through the same thing we did.
And nowadays, of course, there's so many organizations out there helping people, and the PTSD issue, which is big, and you have your Wounded Warrior Project and all those organizations that help us out there. It seems as though a big problem is, though, just getting people to recognize these services are available and to take advantage of it.
Yes, and which is a good thing, but there still needs a lot of work. They're having people that need help, but they're not getting the right type of help. And the ones that are supposed to be, are helping us, they don't understand. They don't take time to listen. And I don't see how they can help if they don't understand what we went through.
Yeah, there are needs, and that's, if you're not fulfilling the needs, why, maybe the help isn't getting through the way it needs to.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Well, thank you very much, and again, thank you for your service. And we got hand little flags here. We've got thank you signs, flags. It's a nice Huntingdon tradition this Veterans Day.
You were telling, yeah.
Thank you flag things, but
well, they're still walking up and down the street, so you might be able to snag one yet. I haven't seen any. Now, do I have my holidays confused? I didn't see poppy sales, but is that Memorial Day only? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Flowers. Yeah. I think that's Memorial Day. I even put $1 in my pocket. I was ready to go.
Yeah.
And I usually don't think that far ahead.
Hey, Jeff, I don't know. Can you hear me? Again, last year,
yes.
Last year I was down at the parade, and John Bloom was in the parade. And every time I see John Bloom, I thank him for his service. I think I overdo it, but I do that because John just alluded to the fact that, a lot of times people came home and they had problems that needed addressed. And then now we're finally getting to the point where we understand that, there were a lot of things that these gentlemen brought back, and women from Vietnam, and raised their families. And now John's a grandparent. And John, and I know John, but I can't thank him enough because he's involved in the community as well. He helps us all the time at the Huntingdon County Drop-In Center. And that says a lot about a person and how they've moved on in their lives. But that will never be forgotten, that era. And I'm just glad and thankful for John Bloom and many like him.
Yeah, and and then you see so many that they just continue that tradition of service, even though they're not in the military anymore. They continue a tradition of service in the community, just like John does here with the drop-in center, and and it's just people in their normal daily activities that sometimes I show up at some of these events like Memorial Day, and and I'll see the guys that I've known all my life that I never knew they were in the military, never spoke anything of it. I remember years and years ago, and I probably knew at some point younger, but Mr. Mike Crone, who was so active in youth baseball in the area for years and years, and he was at a Memorial Day event and had his hat on, and I never knew, and I went over and apologized to him that all those years I never really understood. And hey, no problem.
Yeah.
I was glad to serve.
Yeah, and there was an era of those gentlemen like Mr. Crone and many others who served, even my dad, and I'm sure your dad did too, but you know what? They never spoke about it. You know what? They just got on with their lives, man, and that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, by the way, go ahead.
We have the Huntingdon Police vehicle is just about down to our location, so we are making progress. Once again, we are in front of the Huntingdon County Drop-In Center, and thank them for the use of some of their facilities to help us get our broadcast on here this morning. And we are being led in the procession by the Huntingdon Borough Police, and that vehicle is just making its way to us now.
And I would imagine, I don't know this for a fact, but Dee Dee Brown might be riding in that police vehicle, because anytime there's a parade...
Chief. No, Chief Buckley is driving and has no no assistant today. And
no passengers.
Then we have the... well, it's political season. I don't think they like to politicize this parade too much. And they're followed by a unit from the state police. Still can't get used to those SUVs that trooper inside.
They've changed the color of those, haven't they?
Yes, yep. Now the American Legion color guard is right behind the police cars. And we'll try to get out here, see if we can speak to someone that we all know. And this is our Huntingdon County Veterans Administration commander. How you doing this morning?
Hey, we're doing great. This is a wonderful turnout. It's exciting to see this many people.
I'd like to see a whole lot more, but though, thank you for your service in this parade today. It's just something we don't miss.
So people have been so gracious all the way on the parade route. Just very nice, and I feel very warm. And I got a good driver here, Cecil Broombaugh. So we're happy to be part of this. We're really happy.
Thank you very much. He's got you right down the middle of the street. We'll let you get going. Thank you. All right, we are trying to grab some people as they come down along the parade route here this morning and talk to them along the way. And our parade chairman this morning is now passing. And our parade marshal from the Army representative getting some waves and some salutes. And, it's nice to see the veterans. Whenever the color guard went through, the veterans lining the street, they all had the proper hand salute and did that as the color guard went past from the American Legion. Now there we go. That's the kind of car I should be driving. That's I'd look sharp in that. It's from the Swaggart Auto Museum donated that, and we have this guy we need to go talk to. And happy Veterans Day! Thank you for your service.
Thank you for being here. Great day, isn't it?
It is a great day, and
he's taking care of us today, isn't he?
We have a whole lot of great days because of folks like you who served our country.
All right, thanks for noticing.
All right, thank you. We are at the Huntingdon County Veterans Parade coming down Washington Street at this hour. The Marine Corps representative, now the Navy parade marshal, is driving past. And a lot of people to be honored and thanked here today. Oh, now there's a big old Ford LTD. That looks like right about out of the late 60s. That is good looking. The Coast Guard representative passing our way now. And here comes the Air Force. I just spoke of them a little while ago, and some ladies in their Air Force finery. And we have a special guest of the U.S. Army, Sam Noe. And see if we can get him to slow down enough. Happy Veterans Day Parade.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
We just want to send along a thank you for all you've done in your service to our country.
Well, thank you again.
All right. Well, enjoy your parade. We are at the Huntingdon County Veterans Day Parade. Yes, it's Veterans Day next week, but I know we're celebrating a little bit early here, commemorating this fine day. Oh, now look at that Chevy, man. That's a nice ride. What year do you put that at?
That's 57.
57. There we go. Hey, Buck. There goes Buck, the American Legion Post 24 commander. That is classic. That Bel Air there. A little bit of work went into that thing. That is nice. And we have a special guest from the U.S. Air Force who's passing now, and now one of the special people that are in the parade. Purple Heart awardees are passing now in their vehicle. And then some of our World War II veterans, and I'm just astonished by the number of the World War II veterans who are passing on a daily basis. That Tom Brokaw called them the greatest generation, as they fade from the scene, but are forever remembered. Then the Korean veterans and the Daughters of the American Daughters of the American Revolution. Their regent is coming past at the moment. Well, okay. Yeah, there goes a Corvette on. So looks like he may have been having some trouble. There's a lot of smoke blown out of that. Might be why he got out of the parade. And next comes the 17th District VFW commander, Veterans of Foreign Wars, passing us by the way now. And the VFW Post 1754 commander is getting ready to pass. And now these people will be getting out at the reviewing stand down at the American Legion. So that'll slow things up here a little bit from time to time. I don't think that vet's doing too well at the moment. It's smelling like it. Yeah. So some of these people will be, well, some of the procession slowing down here now, while some of the dignitaries who have passed our location are being led out down by the American Legion, which is where the reviewing stand is. And just a gorgeous day, a little nippy this morning, but sunshine is streaming down the street, and a lot of people on the sunny side of the street, I guess, taking whatever the heat will provide from the sunshine. Well, okay, now here we go. We're starting to move a little bit now. I think that the Corvette's leaving everything in a cloud of black smoke at the moment. Maybe that's more of the issue for the hold up here at the moment in the parade route. Because we look out, I believe it looks an awful lot like the Southern Huntingdon County High School Band, which is down the street about a block. And we're not going to move too far away from our signal source because we don't want to fade out of the scene here.
Sounding good.
All right, very good. All right, things really aren't moving at the moment. We're in a standstill, and I don't know, we might be getting another fire call. Oh, then Dan and Gala, who are a big part of so many celebrations and commemorations in our areas, they will be doing. They're kind of stuck in front of us here at the moment. As nothing's moving. You know, this would be a good time. I've always wanted to do a parade, something a little bit different. I think it'd be quirky enough for Huntingdon, where line up all the units in the parade, starting at about 4th Street, and just have them sit there, and then have all the people who want to watch the parade start at 4th Street and walk up Washington Street to the end of the parade. This might have been a good time to test that out. I brought that idea up to some people, and most of them just look at me like, hey, he seems to be a little bit off again, but thinking outside the box. Well, we're still waiting at this point. Military vehicles, we're still trying to get the vehicles moving down the street to keep the procession rolling here.
If you've got a minute, Jeff Speck, by the way, live from the Huntingdon Veterans Day Parade here. Of course, Veterans Day is next Saturday, and as Jeff alluded to, there are a lot of memorial services and presentations and programs all next Saturday. We'll try to list those for you throughout the week here on the Air Network at 94.1 FM. Again, thank you, Jeff Speck, for being at the Huntingdon Veterans Day Parade. I would imagine that you might see a couple of dignitaries like G.T. Thompson this year again, or maybe even John Eichelberger. Any of those guys down there?
It's funny you should mention. You mentioned the name John Eichelberger, and who would be coming up in our line of procession right now is Pennsylvania State Senator John Eichelberger. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good to see you.
And, we're a week early with the Veterans Day Parade here in Huntingdon, but it's a great day to honor those who have served us so well.
Yeah, I think we got a smile from God today on the weather. It's pretty out. It's warming up. It's nice. We've got a lot of people out parade route, so like to see everybody out today.
These are important events because we look forward to seeing you, and you're usually at these Veterans Day parades in Huntingdon. I'm sure take part in a lot of other commemorations.
Well, it's an honor to recognize all the great work that the veterans have done for our country. I mean, you just can't say thanks enough. So today's a special day for them, and we're glad to be here and take part in it.
All right, thank you, State Senator John Eichelberger, one of the folks in line here in the parade today. And you're good. Any other names you want to throw out? See if we can bring them up.
Well, I was thinking, again, last year I got a chance to see John there. I worked with his wife, Charlotte, in radio and TV for many years. I also saw, I think his name is Rich. He's the state legislator. He was there last year. I met him. Rich
Irvin.
Yeah, Rich Irvin. I met him. And also G.T. Thompson was there, too.
Well, you just throw names out, and I make them appear on the radio.
Wow.
There's 81st District Representative Rich Irvin. Rich, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Not bad at all. And this is
Good morning here.
It is, and these are big things to get out to help commemorate and celebrate our veterans.
Oh, absolutely. We owe our veterans our life and the freedoms that we do live under right now. So I think it's very important that I'm here as an elected official to help celebrate this day as well as commemorate the soldiers we've lost in the past. So thank you very much for being here.
All right, thank you. That is our 81st State Representative, Rich Irvin. So you name them off, and are you watching this on TV?
No, I wish I were, but I was just alluding to the fact that I saw these guys there last year. Now, if this guy shows up, I'll be amazed. G.T. Thompson, I met him, and we talked a little bit about his wrestling exploits back when he was in high school, and that was so cool. So maybe G.T.'s busy down in D.C. today. I don't know.
And our county commissioners are going past now. Important day to be out and commemorate our veterans, isn't it?
Just a great day to get out and honor them for all they've done. They don't deserve enough.
Pretty nice ride, too. Pretty nice ride you got, too.
Pretty nice. Yeah, we're glad to be here. The commissioners are glad to be here.
All right, well, look, how'd you get the rumble seat, Mark Sather?
Well, actually, this is a better seat here, and I'm actually very warm. It brings me back to the time in watching the Waltons.
I was thinking Grandma Walton hopped in the back and went for the ride for the first time with John Boy.
You bet. The best seat in the house.
It's an important day as we commemorate our veterans, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And actually, this is nice to see everybody turning out, too. It's not only recognizing the veterans for what they have done, but also those who are continuing to serve.
All right, Mark Sather, Huntingdon County Commissioner, thank you. And we are at the Huntingdon County Veterans Day Parade in downtown Huntingdon.
I was just going to mention Mark Sather, Jeff Thomas, and Scott Wall. I don't know why, but there they are. At least Mark showed up.
Yep, they are here. You're like Magic Mike.
Well, we understand they want to thank the veterans, and of course, who better to do that than some of our public officials, huh?
There's Huntingdon Borough Mayor going in her own vehicle today. She's in a nice vet. She rides along. And the past Huntingdon County Veterans Association commanders are passing us now. And oh my goodness, a big old Continental. That's one thing I want to own, a Continental before I leave this earth. That'd be a good one to own. That is sweet. That is nice. And we do have have our first band, which will be passing by here shortly. Before we get to the band, though, a couple of other things. The Disabled American Veterans have one of their transport vans in the parade, and some more of the past Huntingdon County Veterans Administration commanders. And this guy we all know, and Clarence Fortney, who is very much involved in these parades over the years, and good to see you.
30 years this year is the 30th parade.
Just getting started.
I'm retiring.
Clarence Fortney, good to see you, and thank you for your service and all you've done for our country and our area.
Years, 8 months, and 5 days.
Excellent.
I saw your setup.
Thank you. Have a happy Veterans Day. Thank you. Just one of the fine gentlemen that in the parade and have served this parade, was one of the organizers for many, many years, but is now ready to step aside and let some other younger folks take over that role. And coming up next, we have another color guard unit. This from the Pennsylvania State Police. And then we're going to catch some music from the Southern Huntingdon. And if my tradition holds, I usually don't get a song. I usually get a drum cadence when a band is going past. And right now they're, oh, hold it. Maybe they heard me. The whistle is blown. I think we're going to get some music from the Southern Huntingdon County High School Marching Band.
Oh, yeah.
Southern Huntingdon County High School Band making their way past us here at the 2017 Huntingdon County Veterans Day Parade, being celebrated on this Saturday, November 4th. And they just have some classic cars. It looks like maybe some veterans just doing that. Instead of making a walk in the procession, they are making their way down the street in some of their looks like 50s and 60s cars. So give them a salute as they go past. And coming up next looks like a good representation from our area scouting groups. It looks like Brownies, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. They're all making their way down. Quite a lineup of scouts in the parade at the moment. And as we look on down the street, we see some military vehicles coming. Maybe one or two fire apparatus pieces, the ones that didn't get called out on service. And then we have another parade back there. See some flags twirling in the air as we continue to bring you live coverage here on the airnetwork.net and at 94.1 in Huntingdon. And led off here by the Girl Scouts in the heart of PA as they make their way down. And I guess we have some Brownies here first or up front as they go from youngest to oldest. Then we'll do the same thing and repeat with Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts. And let's try to get you some pack numbers here whenever they come into view so we know who we're talking about. We've got Bear, we've got Wolf. And comes pack number 248. That is from Stone Church of the Brethren here in Huntingdon. That Cub Scout group is passing through at the moment. And then that is followed by a Boy Scout troop here from Huntingdon. If the flag unfurls, we'll see if we can catch this is from the Troop 25, the First United Methodist Church in Huntingdon is where that group comes out of. So then there's a tradition, the scouting tradition continues here in Huntingdon, and that'll be followed by banners being carried by the scouts, remembering World War I, World War II, the Korean and the Vietnam battles, and that's followed up by the Persian Gulf banner, and then the War on Terror banner, as the scouts proudly carry those banners down the street, and remembering the people who served in those various conflicts and wars throughout the years. It is as it's been alluded to, just a gorgeous day. And as John Eichelberger said, we really lucked out here. We have nice weather. I guess rain expected later on today, but right now not many stormy looking clouds in the sky, and the sun is making quite a fine representation. And the Vietnam folks, we've got about half dozen representatives. See one of my old teachers, Rick Lombard, out there, and Bill Speck, and one of the guys, he's still able to get in that Navy uniform and looking good. And the Persian Gulf War, there's Mr. Gill behind that banner, and thank them for their service as well, as we are the Huntingdon County Veterans Parade. And did the uniform shrink?
The uniform shrunk.
Okay, Jeff Gill, a veteran from the Persian Gulf conflict. He's not in uniform. Yeah, he admitted he outgrew it.
Popped a couple buttons.
Seems to be an affliction as we get older.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and there comes some older personal. Some of the personal owned military vehicles. Got some Jeep CJs are coming up through first. And here, I'll put some of these people to work now. You ever ride in one of those things?
I used to drive them.
Used to drive. Oh, so we might be getting the grade of what your job was, huh?
Well, I did everything and anything.
So we've got a couple of CJs and the Jeeps that are coming through. Then what else is in line back there?
You got deuce and a half, 3/4 ton, couple of half tons. Yeah, I can't see the rest.
I rode a deuce and a half. Turned it into a brush truck. Those things are a beast.
But they go anywhere.
That's what made them a great brush truck.
Yeah. I put them through swamps where you're pushing mud with the front bumper. I did things with these Jeeps that people didn't think could be done either.
They were unstoppable.
Well, they were. They still are. You can tell by they're still running.
So these are private owned units that are in the traditionally in the parade every year, and the folks they take great pride in keeping these vehicles up so that they can come out and little touch with the past and maybe what they had been through in the service, and always good to see those coming down the street. I believe the Southern Huntingdon Band had stopped down by the reviewing stand and was doing a performance for the folks down there. And that seems to have concluded, so they're moving on, and now the procession will get restarted here again.
Hey, Jeff, I don't know when you were a kid whether or not you would read the magazine articles about the Army surplus stuff. I always wanted to get a CJ through that Army surplus.
Oh, I'll tell you, that would be great. You know, I watch MASH. I always remember, what was that, General Steele on MASH. He was sending a Jeep home to his wife, and I forget it was marked kitchen utensils or something. But that was Harry Morgan. That was the role he played before he took over the MASH unit. General Steele. He was a little off his rocker, but that was a good episode, as most of them were.
I miss that show. I do, man. Well.
Yep. All right, we are moving now, and the Jeeps are starting to pass by, and then some of the bigger units, and they usually have a pickup truck in here also. The 9th Missile Battery. It's got the soft top canvas on top there. Guess open air, huh? And let's see now, the Moose Creek, Alaska, the Alaska Command. Okay. And the next one coming up here. Yeah, see, Steve Jackson, he never misses a thing. The Moose Alaska. See, moose, they're everywhere.
Mm.
he is the promoter. Now, tell us about that unit.
Oh, this one here's another one that's unstoppable. You could put it in gear and going up a steep grade and walk beside it as it's going up.
Just keep going. Then, of course, here's a big boy.
What, this one?
Yeah, getting a little big.
This one, definitely Vietnam era. Back in the 50s, it's a Deuce.
Still chugging along, though.
It's still going. Has the troop seats and the bows on it for the canvas.
And salute out to Tom Wilson. He has a pickup truck and towing behind it a utility cart of some sort, and has that looking like. Listen to that. A what?
Stevens trail.
I knew that. No, I didn't have a clue what you called it.
Yeah.
We'll have to have you here to do this. Huntingdon Rotary with a group in the parade here today as they are honoring the veterans, making their way down the street and saying thanks to those who have served. Thank you. Yeah, keep the radio guy fed. That's a good banner carrier over there today, Mr. Canner, the director of the Huntingdon Band. Let's listen to the marching cats as they go past. That is quite a talented banner carrier you have today.
Well, thank you. We have a number of kids that are sick today, and so, we'll step in and help out as we need to.
Thank you very much for being here. Thanks. That is Mrs. Canner. Her husband was one of the banner carriers today. He looked like he may have a job if the band director job doesn't work out for him. But Huntingdon Marching Cats on the way past. I must be living right. 2 bands. 2 actual pieces of music today. I'll see if I can make it 3 for 3. Looks like I've got, I think it looks like green and white. And that's not easy for a person who's colorblind to want to say what might be coming down the road next. And next we have the Standing Stone Detachment 1117 Marine Corps League and representatives from that organization, and they are followed in line next by the Auxiliary 5754 from the Mount Union. Mount Union Post 5754, and yep, VFW Mount Union and their auxiliary unit. And coming along next, we have a float, and these people look good. The Knights of Columbus as they make their way in the parade route. Oh, I can't get to that guy on the other side of the street here, but our Knights of Columbus. There's he's got the purple.
Hi.
Hi, and you guys are always out here honoring us at honoring the veterans, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Very important for your organization.
Absolutely. Patriotism is one of our major goals.
All right, looking sharp and nice ride. Thank you. We are live on the airnetwork.net, and that is the Knights of Columbus from the Most Holy Trinity Catholic Church here in Huntingdon, and some of the people you'd recognize on there, Edgar Gola, John Loss, and Kevin Hallahan. Then we have Larry Beatty, the commander of the American Legion Post 107 in Mount Union, and he's got some hounds hanging out the back too. And coming up next, the Coast Guard Auxiliary Patrol, which you see out at Raystown Lake as they go past and have their patrol boat in the parade here. And coming up next is the Juniata Valley Marching Band. I think we're going to get another song on the radio. I don't believe it. Here's the Juniata Valley High School Marching Band. And that is the Juniata Valley High School Marching Band making their way past and headed down toward the reviewing stand at this hour. And some more vehicles getting ready to pass by our location. We have the American Legion Auxiliary from Post 24 in Huntingdon, Pennsylvania. Their representatives in the vehicle passing us at this point. I think I hear some more music, so I think it looks like all the county schools will be represented. We've had Southern Huntingdon, Juniata Valley, so the Mount Union Band will be making its way in the procession. And it's always great to see the four county high schools well represented here at the Veterans Day Parade. Once again, yes, it is not Veterans Day. It's the Huntingdon County Veterans Day Parade being commemorated here today. And the American Legion Auxiliary, Unit 150 from Petersburg, Pennsylvania. They're throwing candy. Look at her go. She's good. I'll borrow her next year for the Halloween parade.
Yeah, there you go. She'll scarf it all, Jeff.
We'll make it an even 50-50 split. She pick it up and I'll eat it. Never opposed to candy. On. And next we have the Stone Creek Valley Lions. Oh, look at that Tootsie Roll. 3 Tootsie Rolls, thank you. Next we have the Stone Creek Valley Lions as they have a float in here saluting, and then the table set with the missing member with the boots. That's a very nice float they put together there from the Stone Creek Valley Lions. And next, I see the Statue of Liberty back there on this float. It looks like the flags representing all the service, all the branches of the United States military. And we'll see who has that group in there. I think that was a VFW group that was in the Halloween parade with this float, and very well done. It is indeed. It's the Mount Union VFW Post 5754, and with their representatives and getting their thank yous from the crowd. The post commander and the post quartermaster are riding in the float, and we've got Uncle Sam and the Statue of Liberty and all the branches of the service commemorated there with the flags on that float. And coming up next, we'll have the Mount Union Area High School Band. All 4 county schools are in, so that is great to see. And always like to give a shout out to the Mount Union High School Band. It's got an old Bearcat alumni, one of the people who was in charge of that, Rich Kane, the band director at Mount Union, a Huntingdon product, but very proud to share him with Mount Union. Here they come. You're going to have to step up your game. Mr. Canner is carrying the banner for Huntingdon.
Yeah, I know. He'll do anything to get attention, won't he?
He's right up front.
He's a great guy. Great parade.
Good seeing Mount Union here today also.
Oh, it's great to be here. Great to be here.
Oh, very good. The Mount Union marching band going past. Is your season wrapped up or anything going on at this point band-wise?
We have a playoff game tonight at Bishop McCourt, and we will be there. All right.
Well, good luck. Might as well bring back a victory.
I'm sorry?
Might as well bring back a victory.
Oh, yeah. Yes, let's do it.
All right. Very good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have the bus from the James E. Van Zandt VA Medical Center. That is making its way past us now, and different images of our military personnel all over the side of that big coach bus. Eagle One, as they call it, from the James E. Van Zandt VA Medical Center. And they're followed in line. Not all the fire trucks emptied out of Huntingdon. So there were a few left whenever that call had come through, and the Alexandria Volunteer Fire Company with Quint 1 going past us. And then we have the Huntingdon County Emergency Management Agency office, which, as we've spoken of earlier, Joe Thompson, who's now the director of the EMA here in Huntingdon County after years and years of service to Huntingdon Borough, making that move to the county agency at the Huntingdon County Emergency Management. Wishing Joe a lot of luck and success in that new endeavor in his personal career. And that's followed by Special Unit 21. That's from the Trough Creek Valley Volunteer Fire Company out of Cassville, Pennsylvania. And we had the Huntingdon mayor in the parade earlier. That would have been about a half an hour ago. And now the gentleman who would like to have a shot at that job himself, David Wessels, the Huntingdon Borough mayoral candidate. He is in the parade and dressed in his uniform, and thank him for his service. And David says he's not running the 2 miles anymore, so he can't get the code button, but the rest of it's there. And up next, then we have the Mapleton Fire Department as they go past, and then a unit from Three Springs, their ambulance. I like that. It's got the dark blue and the light blue, not your usual looking ambulance. As Three Springs area, as they salute their members who have served and have all of them listed. That's a nice touch. All the members who have served their ambulance division, all those members are listed on the side of the ambulance here for this Veterans Day Parade. Then from the Robertsdale Wood and Broadtop Volunteer Fire Company, their ambulance 1702 is making its way past at this point. And then we've got a little girl. She is waving the flag. That is Isabella Mortar. She is the 2017 Smithfield Little Sweetheart. She's up on top, decked out in her red and waving her red, white, and blue flag. And then the 2017 Smithfield Little Prince, Shane Malik. He's looking cool. He's got his shades on and his little Prince sash, and he's got the wave down too. He's waving the flag, doing a good job. And then the folks right across the river from Huntingdon, the Smithfield Volunteer Fire Company, Truck 10 first in line, and that'll be followed by Rescue 10, which is in the procession here. Like I say, not all of the units got called out of town here before 11 o'clock, but they got a call right before the parade was scheduled to start, and we'd probably have a whole lot more units in this parade if that call had not occurred. But off to duty they went, and Rescue 10 and Walt Gray, who so familiar with the Smithfield Volunteer Fire Company, he's driving that rig in the procession here this morning. And then Orby Rock Hill Ambulance 903, the Orbizonia Rock Hill Ambulance Division, is coming past us at this point. And coming up next, though, it looks like we have a fire queen. That would be Rachel Householder from the Huntingdon Regional Fire and Rescue, as she's here in the parade this morning and got the crown, got the wave, looking good. I still think there must be a school all these girls go to learn to get that wave down. Then next we have the Special Unit 65 from Huntingdon Regional Fire and Rescue, and that is followed by HRFR 65. Tanker 65-2, and that is followed by Ladder 65 from the Huntingdon Regional Fire and Rescue, and that will put a wraps on our parade. Hold it, that will not. I'll see if I can get these ladies to stop. U.S. Air Force, who are we talking to?
Channing Benedict.
Shay Greenland.
And active duty reserves?
I am recently separated from the military, and she's
in the reserves now. I was active duty for 10 years.
I just sent my girl off this morning to Fort Indian Town Gap. She's down for drill, so I never like that. But now, were you two out of Lackland? Did you go there?
We went to Lackland for basic training, and I separated from South Korea.
Lackland, after going down there, and I stayed on base. I could just stay there. I probably had more fun though than you folks had in your boot camp.
I'm sure.
Well, thank you for your service, and nice seeing you here on the streets today.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
and happy Veterans Day early. And that's going to wrap it up today from the Huntingdon County Veterans Administration and the Huntingdon County Veterans Parade here for today. And want to thank once again the folks at the Drop-In Center giving us some facilities here to help facilitate this broadcast. And I thank John Bloom for stopping by, giving us a little insight on some of these things.
Oh, you're entirely welcome. And we want to thank everybody out there for thanking us.
All right, very good. And that'll do it, Greg.
Wow.
That's all from downtown Huntingdon. I guess next up on the agenda, there'll be a fat bearded guy visiting from up north. No, that's not Jeff coming in from McAlevy's Ford.
That's right. And Jeff, I want to thank you and John Bloom again for the live broadcast of the Huntingdon County Veterans Day Parade in downtown Huntingdon here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM. Thank you, guys. The big deal, of course, is the Christmas tree lighting, and we also have Santa Claus coming to town. So, Jeff, hopefully you'll be geared up for that to bring us all that live information as well. And all I can say is listen for a rebroadcast of today's Huntingdon County Veterans Day Parade here on the Air Network and 94.1 FM. Plus, I might add, Jeff, I'm going to give a copy of this to our good friend Kelly Croker of the Huntingdon County Historical Society. I think it's always kind of nice to go back 200 years from now and listen to this. What do you think?
Very good. And coming up a little bit later on this afternoon, I'll have the parade video posted here, and so maybe we can hook those two up together and make it a nice package for the future.
That would sound great. I really appreciate it. All right. Hey, Jeff, have a great day, man. I know you're probably heading over to, you going over to Living Waters, maybe get some pizza or maybe a sub.
On my way over to Living Waters and going to have some Mama G's pizza and a pizza. They don't even ask what I want. Cookie just says, I'll need a pizza burger.
She knows what you want. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Pizza burger, and then I get a couple of cuts of Mama G's pizza as an appetizer before the burger's ready.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be on some kind of a diet or something? I'm just saying.
It's that strict seafood diet. I see food and I eat it.
There you go. All right. Hey, again, thank you, Jeff Speck and John Bloom. Thanks for joining us here on the airnetwork.net, 94.1 FM. Guys, have a great day.